Well, that sucked. All right. Well, sorry about that. For those of you who are hoping to, we tried to make it over to Odysee tonight to do the standard thing, like we're gonna, first stream on YouTube, then stream on Odysee. Well, it looks like Odyssee's streaming servers are down, and I tried connecting to them, and well, it didn't work. So I guess we're back over here. That kind of sucks because I just lost 45 minutes or 30 minutes trying to deal with this. All right, so there it is. We'll get started here in a second. I'll wait for a couple of people to get back on board, and we'll go forward again. What am I going to tell you? This is not going to be now a scintillating conversation. I'm kind of fucking pissed off and distracted and all the rest of it, but we'll do our best. All right. So I left off really 15 minutes worth of cogent discussion, opening monologue for the evening here on YouTube, and then I was supposed to go over to Odysee and let my hair down, and now I can't, because now I can't talk about things the way I want to, because I can't talk about things on Odysee, because there's so many things I'm not allowed to talk about on YouTube. I have considered all other platforms. I'm not okay. I've tried BitTube and BitChute. They're even worse than Odysee for streaming uptime. I haven't tried streaming on Rumble. I don't even have an account yet. So, and I will tell you that Rumble has reached out to me a couple of times. Hey, make an account. We like content like yours. Like, whatever. Okay, that's nice. But like, none of these platforms do I have a lot of faith in. Odyssee's a blockchain channel. It seems to work for the most part, and they're having trouble tonight with their servers for whatever reason. Locals is, again, until I already have a Patreon. You have no idea how fucking complicated everything already is. To then ask me to then let's move to a different platform, mud on the fuck of me. Like, it's like a fucking pain in the ass. Like, it's already hard enough to explain where I am on a regular basis. So just not moving platforms, not changing off of Patreon, not doing any of those things, not until it's in our best interest to do so. And it's not in our best interest to do so. I do one of these streams a week. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's the way it is. Because guess what? It's just not, this is not like the big part of my week. I do this half for me and half for y'all. And, we do our best. And, if it doesn't work, well, it doesn't work. And if I don't want to do one on Tuesday nights, well, I don't do one. So I can tell you that, the worst part about this is I'm kind of half drunk already. And I had a drink before we started. And I'm like, I'm really going to let it fly on Odysee tonight now, and now all I have is a headache. So, all right, well, let's just, let's do our best. So you guys can throw some comments into the chat if you like. We'll make this a little bit of an open Q&A. Remember, I'll be on Halsey in about 40 minutes or so, and then we'll go on from there. So, excuse me. So I really am worried that the Neocons think they have an opening. And here with the Russians offering a certain amount of, hey, we're willing to pull back in Kiev and Kharkiv or Kharkov in the north. Well, Cherniv, not Kharkov. They're not going to give up Kharkov, I don't think. And, when you think about it from that perspective, that's when they're at their most dangerous, because these people honestly interpret every moment of reasonableness. Well, hey, let's stop fighting. Hey, how about we negotiate a win-win for everybody? They see that as weakness. These people are so fucking crazy, and they're so fucking neurotic and racist that you literally have to understand that you're dealing with psychopaths that just see everything in terms of how can we destroy our enemies. It's just that simple. And when you process their pathology in that way, they become really predictable and they're really easy to deal with, because you just know, well, okay, well, if we give them anything, they're just going to think we're weak. So it's part of the reason why I I have a hard time believing that the Russians don't understand this. Because if I can fucking see this, then Putin and Lavrov and everybody else who've been dealing with these people in person for the last fucking 22 years can see this shit, right? And this is the part that makes me skeptical of any of these arguments that the Russians don't know what trap they've walked themselves into. And like, this is the problem with that kind of analysis. Like, well, we see this problem here and this problem here, and they can do this, and maybe this implies this weakness. And again, these are all things that I've kind of game planned out for hours on end. And I keep coming back to the basic premise of, do you really think the Russians are that fucking dumb? So, I don't know. We'll see. Odysee is not streaming tonight. Apparently, I'm not the only one running into trouble. Their streaming servers just aren't working. So that's why we're back here on YouTube. All right. No, so you've got it backwards. Neocons feel like they're showing weakness if they cave to negotiate with the Russians. No, the Neocons think any offer to negotiate is a sign of weakness, and it means that they can then press the advantage. These people are hyper-aggressive, fucking neurotic assholes. Think of them like fucking every psychopath you've ever met on the backyard, in the fucking school lunchroom. That's who they are. It's that simple. They don't want to negotiate. To them, negotiations are a tactic to buy time so they can attack you again. That's the way they think. This is who they are. They are always, yes, 2001 Lex Talionis? What the fuck? 2001 Lex. Yes, you're absolutely right. They will always double down. Always, 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 always. There is no retreat from these people. They are hyper-aggressive, infinitely aggressive. They are A in the Hobbesian dialectic. A will always fight B unless S gets in the way to keep them from happening. These people are A, infinitely aggressive. Hobbes's model of the universe only works if neocons are on one side and neolibs are on the other. It's the only way it works. Is Klaus calling the shots? He's calling some of the shots. Because again, everybody here is facing their existential threat over Ukraine. Ukraine is the hotbed for everybody's corruption within the United States, upper echelons of the political structure. Everybody's, how dirty are we over these biolabs or any of this shit? Like, the deeper you go down some of these rabbit holes and all the angles on Ukraine, everybody who has any power in the West can be implicated in some fucking dirty shitbag scheme in Ukraine. Be it pedophilia, human trafficking, biolabs for bioweapons, funneling weapons through Ukraine, backing neo-Nazis, hating fucking Russians, hating Chinese, funneling weapons in, backing mercenaries, whatever the fuck it is. It doesn't matter. Ukraine is nothing but a hotbed. Moving fentanyl around the world, it doesn't matter. You name it, it's shit, it goes through Ukraine. That's what these people have created. The fucking Clintons did the same goddamn thing at Kosovo and Bosnia and Herzegovina. It's the same goddamn thing when they broke up Yugoslavia. They turned it into a friggin', 5 points of corruption. It's a 5-point, intersection of, hey, everybody can, run their fucking disgusting shit through our backyard as long as we get 10% off the top. What am I not allowed to talk about here on YouTube? Rhymes with news. All right, so and yes, 365 Club Card, you're absolutely right. The Pentagon, if you've noticed, for the last fucking month, since Biden has gone off the fucking deep end with sanctions and Blinken saying stupid shit and everybody coming out of the White House is, saying every goddamn potentially horrible thing imaginable to up the war rhetoric, and you'll notice that not one time is there one person representing the Pentagon standing behind them. Now, whenever the United States wants to project gravitas for their policy. They always get the freaking generals to line up. When they really wanted to sell the Iraq war, what did they do? They sent Colin Powell to the UN with a vial of fucking salt or sodium bicarbonate, but he was dressed in his general's uniform. Okay? They always use the fucking military to justify and give, optics to the legitimacy of those, because so many Americans respect the military and respect the police, and it's still one of the most respected institutions left in the United States. So these fucking people use this all the time, and when they can't, and when the military is absent from all of the talking points, and all you get are the shirt with no tie wearing fucking commies running around, well then guess what you got? You got a bunch of no tie wearing fucking commies running the show. And the military is like, oh, fuck that, dude. But at the same time, there are forces within the Pentagon who are absolutely itching for a fucking war. And so, it depends on what part of the Pentagon you're dealing with. I mean, this is the problem now. And so I'm really worried that they're just buying time until, they get enough pieces in place in Poland to start the next phase of the ground war, while the Russians rightfully take their gains in the south, regroup in the north, and decide what they're going to do next. And maybe, just maybe, invite the very attack that the neocons think they now have the advantage to pull off. And you will never ever get the Ukrainians to put a reasonable offer to the Russians on the table, because the goal is to waste everybody's fucking time negotiating while they move shit into place. And the Russians are like, don't do that. We see what you're doing. Don't do it. Because if you move that much shit into Poland, got news for you, dude. And I said this in the first stream, and I'll say it again now. The more I think about this, the more I realize that the neocons and Obama and the rest of them think, oh, they're being so clever. Let's go to Istanbul and or Lvov or wherever, and we're going to sit down and we're going to negotiate. I give them nothing while they move new troops into place and they do all this stupid shit. They move more javelins and they move more people. I mean, every day, the United States moves 6,000 more troops into Poland. They move more F-16s into Poland. They move this shit into Poland. They move all this. What do you think they're going to do with all that crap? I'm dead serious when I say the Poles better realize that all they're doing is painting a big fucking bullseye for a bunch of tac nukes from the Russians on everybody's chest. Because I fundamentally believe, by the Russians' argument, that the reason they attacked when they did, the way they did in Ukraine in late February, was done on purpose to blunt and preempt an attack coming from the United States or from the Ukraine with the U.S. as the U.S.'s proxy to retake the Donbass. Dead serious. I see no reason to disbelieve the Russians on this, because it doesn't make any sense not to. It's their best play if you expect this to happen. If you expect Ukraine with NATO backing, and they've game planned what they think the Russians are going to do, and it's not in Putin's legal best interest from an international law perspective to wait for the U.S. to and Ukraine to throw the first punch, because then at that point they'll be the aggressors. Then you preempt. Well, if they preempted one attack, do you think they won't preempt another attack? Antonio Pacelli, nukes are not fake and neither are they gay. Right. Biden has been saying the quiet parts out loud. What he's been saying are the echoes of conversations he's been in the room for. All of the things that you've heard Biden say, they've discussed in NatSec council meetings. Like, that's gone on. And all Biden is doing is like, trying to improv while he's at the fucking microphone because he still thinks he's, 60. Marshall Topola, I am Polish and it is crazy there. Morawiecki and Kaczynski are both WAF students. Russia hasn't made any concessions. No, they haven't. And they're not going to. They're saying we're going to slow down and we're willing to talk. So if you ask me what the real worry is going forward here, it is the neocons thinking that the Russians are weak and they don't have enough tanks and they don't have enough planes. And they believe their own bullshit that they've effectively sanctioned the ability of the Russians to make armadas and Su-30s and Su-25 and all this shit, all the new stuff, the Su-35s and 29s or whatever the new ones are, that they can't make any of these things and they don't have any, they don't really have S-400s, they don't really have this, they don't really have that. Russia's a paper tiger, because these people believe their own bullshit. Like, they get their intelligence reports and they read them in the best, and they're going to read them with rose-colored glasses, because that's who they are. They're going to read the intelligence readouts and go, well, it's probably half that good. Putin probably doesn't even have enough fucking launchers to credibly throw enough nuclear weight around to matter. These people believe this shit. They will meme themselves on Twitter into thinking that they actually have the advantage. I mean, you get Jennifer Rubin and Bill Kristol and the rest of these fucking chattering assholes all talking amongst themselves and convincing themselves that they've got a battle plan. These people aren't serious. I mean, these people aren't fucking smart. They're not serious people. They don't consider the risk because they don't think they're gonna get killed. They don't give a fuck. All they want to see is a bunch of goddamn dead Russians. And when you process it from that perspective, it's insane. What everybody has to realize is that Putin is the most reasonable member of the Russian political elite. Everybody else is harder line than he is. If anybody else was in power, the fucking Europe would already be a smoking fucking hole. I mean, you have to realize this. They would have already sunk a fucking carrier or two and nuked fucking Warsaw. I mean, like, seriously. I don't know what these people are thinking. And I do. They think Putin is weak and reasonable and he's got humanity, and we can use his humanity as a lever against him. It's the way they think, because they don't have any humanity. So to them, humanity is weakness. They are literally cartoon characters. They are literally Emperor Palpatine. I think everybody needs to wrap their fucking heads around this. When you read the tweets of people like Jennifer Rubin and Bill Kristol and Max Boot and Victor Davis Hanson and all these fucking neocon assholes, they all say the same thing. Anything less than strength is weakness. They're neurotic. And they're scary. They're psychopaths. And we have to realize that. Victoria Nuland is crazy. She doesn't need the launch coach. She needs therapy. That's where we are. And so, game planning this out, you have to bracket. And I've been here for like 3 weeks, guys. And I know many of you have listened to the podcast that I've done with Extra White, and we've talked about this stuff, and many of you are subscribers to the newsletter, and Dexter has a much more nuanced look at Russian military capabilities than what you're reading, even from either side. And even he's been like, this leaves you in a position where to think, well, at some point, Putin's going to have to kind of sue for peace because he may be in a weaker position than we think, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude, they already think that. They've already game planned the next stage. They're dropping troops into fucking Poland every goddamn day. These people are going to put him in a position to use nukes. And if he tack nukes the financial markets along with Xi in China, then they're going to fucking go nuclear anyway because they won't have any other options. The reason why there's not going to be any surrender in Ukraine is because the minute there's any kind of surrender in Ukraine, Ukraine is taken off the map. There's no longer a conflict that they can justify supporting Ukraine against an invasion. If Ukraine surrenders or settles, negotiates a peace, it doesn't matter at that point. Grown-ups can start, negotiating how they're going to get out of this. There won't be any real negotiation. And that's the other part. There won't be any negotiations afterwards. The Ukrainians will ask for, all of Russia's foreign exchange reserves and, $500 billion and half the moon and, I don't know, Irkutsk as reparations or some shit. And same shit the British did to the fucking Germans in World War I. They don't think they're not going to play this game. It's the same fucking people running the goddamn negotiations behind the scene. They haven't changed. It's still the same shitbag fucking British and French and colonial powers that pulled this shit on the Germans that gave us fucking World War II in the first place. It's the same shit over and over again. Nothing new. Like, if I'm fucking Putin at this point, I'll be honest with you, I'm having a hard time not sympathizing with the Russian hardliners that go, fuck it, nuke them all. Fuck it. Like, they're not going to listen. Maybe we save 100 million of our people. Heard that Zelensky's already fled Europe to Miami. I have no idea. He's welcome in Miami because he's fucking gay. His people are there. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not allowed to say gay. Woo. Daniel Robinson, Thomas, stalemate is actually the worst solution for us. It ends up justifying the need for NATO and keeping the umbilical cord intact between Europe and the U.S. That's what the neocons want. It's absolutely what the neocons want. You're absolutely right. Now, and this is where I'm going to have to go soon. We'll go over to Halsey in about 10 minutes. I got about 10 minutes left. The other side of this is the financial markets. With the Russians tying the ruble to gold, what do I have in the cup? Just coffee. I already had the whiskey. That was earlier. Oh, fucking yeah. Victor Davis Hanson is one of the, biggest fucking neocons. He's right up there with fucking Fukuyama and all those other assholes. Jesus Christ. Absolutely is he a fucking neocon. He always has been. He's just really good at hiding it. Same with Bannon. They're all fucking neocons, these people. It all depends on just whether they're an anti-Chinese neocon or an anti-Russian one. No different. Destroy them. So, with the Russians setting the ruble price to gold, as I wrote in the article that I put out yesterday and picked up and went wide and all the rest of it, you can already see it in the financial markets. You can already see the Russian ruble has moved back to about 84, 85 to the dollar. The price of gold got shellacked into the options on futures expiration date today, down to $1,900 or whatever. And we're at that point, right, where you can see the dynamic is already in play. The Russian ruble has strengthened to the point where it's practically back to pre-war levels. It will be back down to around 75 and continue to go lower. Nobody in the global south is going to stop trading with the Russians. Everybody will do their best to virtue signal to try and keep Jake Sullivan and Anthony Blinken off their ass. The thing I'm worried about now is, Blinken and Yellen unilaterally putting sanctions on China and blowing up the world. Like, that's the only other option they have, because the Russians have the whip hand over oil exports and everything else. And it is what it is. But you have a situation now where all the pieces are in place to tear Europe apart at the seams, but at the same time give American neocons the capital necessary to think that they can fight a war against the Russians. I don't. So I don't know. It's going to be really, really hard to get around this. And look, the Brits want revenge for never having conquered Russia. Somebody just put up that Nuland's grandfather was destroyed by the Tsar. Her dad committed suicide, so she hates the Russians with a purple passion. She wants revenge. Everybody wants revenge for some damn thing that happened at some point. But the truth of the matter is that the big thing you have to realize, as I've explained on many a podcast and on many a live stream now, riffing off of Luke Groman, that we had a choice. We can either to expand the central bank's balance sheets and take all this debt on that needs to be taken on to keep the asset prices at the levels that they're at. We could either let the price of gold rise, which would undermine the Fed, or we could expand the pile of paper gold as the reserve asset for all the credit. So you have one of two options. Still can either, at some point, one of those two conditions is not going to be cannot hold if somebody decides to push the situation to its breaking point. Because what they've done with this stupid paper money scheme is to extract the productive wealth of the entire world and roll it up to Davos. Roll it up to these fucking assholes and these rent-seeking, colonialist, inbred Euro trash motherfuckers. And the world's tired of it. And they've had enough. And these people don't negotiate. They don't listen. They think they are entitled to run the world when they're just a bunch of inbred Euro trash that look like Mr. fucking Burns from The Simpsons, for fuck's sake. Like, what the fuck, man? I mean, if you're honestly, if you are the leader of a country not within the West, aren't you fucking tired of this shit? I would be. And I would wait for the moment when I could roll these motherfuckers and get them overextended, get them into a war they can't get out of, and then fuck them up. And that's what I think is going on here. And does it risk a lot? Yes. Is anything worth doing not worth a little risk? Every entrepreneur has always said, hey, there are risks. Yeah, maybe it's dangerous. But it's either that or just allow the fucking technocrats to turn the whole world into a, Orwellian panopticon where we all have to virtue signal all day long. Like, is that what you want? You want to live like that? You want to live on your fucking knees? Just thinking not. So that's where it is. I mean, that's where it is. So when you parse it all, the Russian scheme is to deflate the pile of paper gold or force the price of gold to rise, or at the very least, force the ruble down up against the dollar, the conversion rate, force it down, appreciating it versus the dollar to allow commodity producers to get the lion's share of the capital and the profit associated with their productive capacity. Every base commodity producer that I talk to, doesn't matter if it's a farmer, soybean farmer, cattle farmer, aluminum smelter, oil producer, fracker, you name it. They all say the same thing. You can't make any money farming. You can't make any money doing this shit. What did we hear for years about fracking in the United States? It was all a big fucking Ponzi scheme. They were taking on more debt than they were pulling oil out of the ground. So they were pulling oil out of the ground at prices that were insane. And eventually, that bad cap table came back to bite everybody in the ass, and no one actually made any money other than who? Oh, the banks who came in, repossessed all the property, and sold it to the oil majors at a profit. Good work if you can get it. Well, what did they do? They provided the fucking capital. But they never took any risks because they didn't have any skin in the game in the fucking first place, because they lent money that they just fucking that was just created out of whole cloth. They laid the investment off 14 ways from Sunday, and they borrowed it all a quarter of a point in the first fucking place. What fucking risk did any of these fucking assholes ever take on? That's what needs to end. That's the end of this story. That's why tying oil and the ruble and the yuan and Bitcoin to gold and tying all those assets together cuts this whole fucking Ponzi scheme down to size. And that's where we're going to wind up. And that's what's got Davos praying the neocons take this thing, escalate this thing. Because without that power, Davos doesn't have any power. They're just a bunch of inbred Eurotrash that own, expensive property. But all that property is levered to the fucking hilt. Oh, fuck them. Herpagus McDurpington. Tom, do you believe that Brandon will have the popular support for the draft he'll need? No. U.S. involvement will happen. No, what he's done is he sent all the fucking Republicans in the armed forces over to Europe to die in the meat grinder that is Ukraine, so they can't vote against him. That's what he's done. Fucking people. Like if I were, I wouldn't take this guy's fucking orders. He's not even fucking president, for fuck's sake. All right, well, this has been fun. I hope I can sober up before I do Halsey tonight. Yeah, every one of these fucking people should be drafted. It's not even a capital gains tax, Roderick states. It's an unrealized profit tax. They want to tax your your unrealized stock gains. Okay? They're crazy. They want to destroy capital in the United States. Elizabeth Warren is a fucking traitor, and she should be arrested for stupidity in a public place. Do I think we'll get through this fourth turning intact? No. I've said that for years. They'll make every goddamn attempt to ensure that the United States is broken up. It's the whole point of this exercise that we're going through now. And goddamn it, at this point, who the fuck wants California? Or Portland? Or Seattle? Or New York? What the fuck do we want these places for? They're all shitholes. I mean, maybe Queens is still good, but fuck Brooklyn. All right. Well, that was fun. I'm done. Hey, a new record on YouTube, 242 people. If you can't tell, I've been playing a lot of Queensryche while as part of my drum practice recently. There we are, up 247. That's where we are. All right. And I'm specifically Operation Mindcrime. All right. You guys take care. You be well. I'll be on Halsey in 10 minutes. All right.